Hey everybody, Matt Barton with 2024's first broker minute or two, and I'm going to try and keep this brief. I know I always say that, but hey, listen, we had great sales meetings in Pleasant Grove, Union Park, and Layton in the last couple days, and I wanted to piggyback on some comments that were made in those meetings. A fraud that has been going around and getting more and more prevalent is fake sellers asking agents to list properties. I covered this a few months ago, but just some additional detail on this. Anyway, the typical things we see on this is it's a lead that comes in through an online source like Zillow, Realtor.com, and they reach out and talk to the agent and say, hey, listen, sometimes it's literally talking to them, sometimes it's via text or email. But the first flag is it's an online lead. The second one is it almost always deals with a vacant lot. Third one is a lot of times there's not even a loan on the lot, which makes the fraud even better, not better. And and we've had one recently that was actually successful, unfortunately. And it's not that anybody did anything wrong, but that precipitated us thinking about what other things can we do to help flush out the fraud. So first of all, I think one of the simplest things is when you get that interaction, the first question is, great, when can we meet you at the property? When can I meet you at the property? And if it's going along the fraud track, you'll typically get a response, oh, I can't be there in person. I'm out of state. I'm out of country. My mom's dying in California and attending her. And we need to get this sold. There's always some sub story of why they can't meet. That should be another incremental warning sign to you. What are the proactive things we can do? Certainly, getting a listing PR and making sure the names match up. These guys are getting more sophisticated. They will quite often have their names matched. Sometimes they can even have fraudulent ID. Talking to one of my title friends, and that one has surfaced. So I think our steps is insisting on a in-person meeting starts to flush out, right? If you're a fraudster, you get nervous when people start insisting on things that's going to expose you as a fraudster. And so just pay attention to the responses. Another thing to do is if they're going to want to do a closing, ask them the question, well, how will we handle this since you're going to be out of state? And you'll get something like, oh, I've got a bank here that I work locally with, and I can just go and have them notarize things. We will not do that anymore. Metro Title will not do that anymore. We will insist on sending the closing documents to a notary that we can verify and make sure that they go and get the attendant documentation, identification, et cetera, et cetera. That's a layer of protection for us. So just letting them know that will not be an option. If they're a fraudster and a few of these things start cropping up, they tend to find an excuse to no longer pursue the deal. And then one of the easiest ones is if you don't have access to forewarn. I know agents in the Utah Central area, their association gives them opportunity to get that at a discounted rate. I think it's like $69 a year, which is stupidly cheap for the amount of protection you can get. So if somebody were to call me and say, this is Joe Smith, and I want to list and sell my property, and I go through the other steps, one of the things I'm going to be doing is, in the process of that, is look up the property address. I can do that on county records, see who the registered owner is, the legal owner, I should say. And then with a application or an app like Forewarn, I can put in that person's name and their address and generate a phone number. And I'm going to call them. I'm going to call them back and be like, hey, it was great talking to you on the phone about listing your home. If it's a fraud, this is such an easy step that I don't think most people are taking to just see if you're actually dealing with the right person. We work very hard at what we do. You're all very good at your profession, but the equation is always shifting and changing just a little bit. So be aware as you go forward in 2024. If it sounds too good to be true, quite often it is. If somebody wants to do a slam dunk deal, they're out of state, they just need you to handle the transaction. Make sure you follow some of these steps that we discussed here. And we're going to have a great 2024, guys. I look forward to it. We'll talk to you soon.